and then I'm going to pass the. Do you have anything to present, or are you just going to speak with us?
I'll just speak with you.
Okay.
It'll be just informal, or
Great.
I'm happy to just answer questions and nothing fancy.
Right.
You had mentioned maybe a little bit about history of engaging cultures and anything like that. Just I'm happy to talk about whatever you guys would find most helpful.
Okay. Yeah. So I think well, this is the group. Well, some of the group that has the cameras on anyway. There's a couple of people that are calling in. And
Okay.
everybody that, yeah, this is John from Engaging Cultures. And I think we were just looking, yeah, if you could give us a little bit of a, breakdown of, the purpose and the mission of Engaging Cultures, because it is, unique. It's not like just another tour company, which is why we're really excited to be working with you. And, and just any kind of travel tips to Jordan that would be helpful for us, in terms of packing and, do's and don'ts sort of thing, of course. And then, we did have somebody, I think it was, who was that? I can't remember, sorry, but we do have a couple questions. If we don't get to them, there's a list of questions that I could shout out at the end as well. So yeah, if you just, take it away. Thank you.
Yeah, you bet. Well, it's nice to see those of you that I can see. We're excited to Jordan. Been talking with Matthew about this trip for quite a while now, so we're excited that it's coming soon. A little bit of background on Engaging Cultures. My wife moved to Sumatra, Indonesia, for the ocean tsunami box. We were working with a relief and development organization at the time, and so we moved to Indonesia, working with this organization. Sorry, I have a notification that popped up. Am I slow? No. Okay, sorry about that. That just popped up in my face. So we were working with this relief organization and moved into this little village in the middle of nowhere in Aceh, was the name of this province. And Aceh had been in a civil war with the rest of Indonesia for 30 years prior to the tsunami. And as we were planning on going there, everybody we talked to said, don't go. The people there are terrorists. They're Muslim extremists. They're radicals. They'll kidnap you. They'll, all of these scary things that they were saying to my wife and I. And we started thinking, boy, maybe this is a bad idea. Maybe we shouldn't do this. But we ended up moving into this little village. We rented a traditional Achenese home that was built up on stilts. It was all wooden. They built it with no nails somehow, miraculously. And the whole neighborhood would sit underneath our house. We had these bamboo benches, and they would just sit underneath the house all day. We'd come home from the office, and they'd say, come down and talk to us after you change your clothes. And so we'd change our clothes, get freshened up, and then just sit with our neighbors all day long. And those people were the opposite of what everybody told us they were. They were incredibly hospitable, incredibly gracious and generous, and they couldn't have been further from the way that everybody else had described them to us. And we felt so safe and so welcomed by being with them. They really just took us under their wings. We had the next door neighbor kind of became like a cultural mentor to us. So we'd go over there for dinners, and they would say, this is what you should do, this is what you shouldn't do. And it radically changed the way we saw not only them, but the way we saw ourselves. And it was through that transformative experience that I started getting interested in tourism and thinking, how can we create something that is a little bit like that experience that my wife and I were able to have? Can we create something like that, but on a faster timeline? Because, we lived there for 2 years. It's hard to get somebody to commit to 2 years living somewhere. But so we started looking around, where could we do this? Where is this type of travel fit best? And as we were looking through some different options, we visited some friends that were living in Jordan, and Jordan fit the model, fit the idea for this type of travel perfectly, because we have, you've got a small country, these amazing world-class sites that are all really easy to get to, and then you have lots of misunderstanding, especially with East and West, with Muslims and Christians, with Arabs and Americans, just a lot of the ways that we demonize one another. Those can be easily overcome by having tea in someone's home and realizing this is a human being and not some monolithic, scary person that I was taught they were by the media or whatever it is. So that's kind of how engaging cultures travel. That what we do, because we're really excited about not just showing people Petra, which is awesome, Petra's amazing, but by allowing them to have real experiences with our now friends that we live amongst. So that's kind of engaging cultures ethos and history in a nutshell. Yeah, any questions about that? Or
are we going to visit some mosques? Did you understand me?
Sorry, can you say that again?
Yes, I have.
No, okay, you broke up a little bit.
Okay, are we going to visit some mosques? So we need some veil and we need to get off our shoes and everything. Is it possible? Because Muslim countries like that.
Yes. So.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I've been in some. It's okay.
Go ahead.
No, it's okay. Go ahead.
Okay. Yes. So we will visit a mosque on the 31st. You'll be visiting the King Abdullah Mosque, and it's open to foreigners, non-Muslims. It's open to anyone, but they provide for women. They provide a like a scarf and like a robe that you can wear.
Okay.
Yeah.
It's just
and then that
to be surprised. Dog. Arrête. Oui, okay.
Yes, I can hear you now.
No, excuse me. It was my dog barking.
Oh.
Also, I want to know another question, because when we get to your place, do we need a duffel bag, or what kind of luggage we'll be going camping, and what kind of bag we need? Yeah,
I would recommend for that day, maybe just pack for the day that you go camping in Wadi Rum, which is the big desert in the south. I would recommend packing like a day bag, where you would have your change of clothes for the next day.
Okay.
You can bring your big bag if you want, but it's easier if you just plan ahead and then pack something in pack what you would need for that overnight in a separate small bag.
Perfect.
Yeah.
And we'll leave our main luggage somewhere.
Yep. Yeah. We can either, depends on the bus driver. Sometimes they are okay with you leaving on the bus. Sometimes they would prefer that we take it off. If we take it off, we would leave it at we have a local guide that lives in the village in Wadi Rum. We could leave it at his house. And that would be fine to do. Okay.
And during the night and camping, or even it's going to be quite cold, because during day it's hot and during night usually it's colder. Did you understand?
Yeah, it could get chilly. Yeah, I can hear you. So you said it'll be you're asking if it'll be cold at night. It'll be a little chilly at night, but it won't be really cold yet. It shouldn't be anyway.
A windbreaker and it will be okay.
Sorry, you broke up there.
A windbreaker and something not too light, I know in French the word Polartec or something. Okay, that's okay.
Yeah. Yep. And then if you're more comfortable that day, you could bring a small light sleeping bag. If that's something that you want to pack. If not, we can provide. We'll have blankets. And things. But some people prefer to have their own sleeping bag to sleep in. So,
But we don't need a sleeping bag, so I can use the blankets. I will be okay. But we don't.
okay.
It does it. Okay, I will not bring the sleeping. Okay.
Okay. Yeah. So so that's an option for your preference. So if you
Okay.
if you would like to bring a sleeping bag,
Okay.
you know, that's good. And then just, you know, whoever's planning on bringing a sleeping bag, I mean, we can, once you get here, we'll know who has what, but then we can just let our Bedouin friends know what you have and what you'll need, and they'll take care of it.
Perfect. Okay.
Yeah.
I'm the only one asking, huh?
No, I would like to ask.
I'm shy a little bit.
Hi, John. How can I ask you questions? Can you hear me?
Yeah, please. Yes, I can.
I'm phoning from England.
Great.
You know, we're staying in the village, and we're staying with local people. What kind of presents would people like or appreciate?
Yeah, great question.
Can you hear?
Yeah. So you asked what kind of presents people would like, or what's a good, chocolates from your, like, regionally specific things are nice.
Yep.
Something like a treat that travels easily. But people like things that are this is from my place.
Okay.
Those go over very well. Just make sure, so they will be Muslim, your hosts. So no pork products or anything that contains alcohol. Sometimes, I mean, you don't realize that marshmallows that you cook over a campfire, a lot of them have pork in the marshmallow. And so you wouldn't even think to look at the ingredient list. Those are things to be aware of when you're planning to purchase something as a gift for somebody that you're going to stay with.
Hey, John.
Yes.
We ask it. I'm going to use Julie's microphone because mine's not working. But
okay.
About the olive orchards and working there, can you say anything about that? And again, kind of like Danielle was saying, maybe clothing, shoes, whatever.
Yeah, great question. So clothing, the village where we'll be picking olives and we'll be doing the homestays, it's a more conservative area, and so like nothing that would show your knee is recommended. So something that's below your knee, all the way to the ankle is best, but below the knee is recommended for pants or a skirt, and then at least covering the shoulders. So some, like my wife, she usually wears 3/4 sleeves or longer. But most women that you'll see in the village, and this isn't a big deal, but just most people that you'll see, most of the women, they'll be wearing 3/4 sleeves or longer sleeves. Most of the women in the village they'll have their head covered. You won't need to. That's not an expectation that they would have on you. And then some of the women don't. It's a personal preference.
Excuse me, some people are arriving at my home. I was not expecting, so I'm going. Seigneur.
No problem.
Je téléphone avec le groupe de la Jordanie. Venez dans la maison.
Okay,
yes.
Sorry, I muted Danielle. So if you need to talk again, you can unmute yourself. I think Danielle, but just
I'm back.
Oh, okay. Sorry.
They know the drill.
Oh, okay. All right. Never mind then. All right. Sorry. Carry on.
Yeah. Sorry, Chris. So your other question about the olive picking and what that'll be like.
Yes.
Yep. So we'll go. So in the mornings, you'll go to the olive farm. So the homes that you'll be staying at. I mean, olives are a really big part of the economy and the culture in northern Jordan. So there's going to be huge olive groves. There's Roman olive trees that are 1,500 years old They're still producing olives. You'll see those. The trunks are enormous. So they'll say these are the Byzantinians planted these trees, and they're still collecting olives from them. So it's a really old tradition where the families will get together and they'll pick olives as a group. And then they'll do that usually on the weekends because they're working during the day. If their job is just farming, then they might be doing that with their families throughout the week. But we'll be up there on the weekend. We planned it so that would coincide where more people are going to be available. And so we'll go through this is how you pick the olives, but it's all done by hand. And you just run your fingers down a branch, and the olives will just fall out onto a big tarp that's on the ground. And then some people will be collecting them and putting them in buckets. And then you'll have lunch on the farm. And afterwards, at some point, you'll be able to visit a olive press where you can see once they fill the big sacks full of olives, they take them to the press where they turn them into olive oil. If you're interested, you can buy olive oil there straight from the press. You can, put your jar underneath it, and it'll go right into the jar. But getting those back to your home countries might be a bit tricky. You don't want a bottle of olive oil to explode in your suitcase.
For sure.
But if you wanted something and you're going to consume a lot of olive oil just during your Jordan trip, that's an option for you.
Let me ask another question, John, relating to that and gifts. Do you know, can we assume there will be some children in these families that we might want to bring something for?
Yes. Yep. So right now we've got you arranged at 3 different homes. So we'll be splitting the group up into 3 different homes. And one of the families has, let's see, Mahmoud I think he's 3. So ages, there's a 3-year-old boy and then 3 older girls. The oldest girl is in 7th grade, I believe now. We've known them for 7-8 years, so it's hard to keep. I think that's how old she is now. But so there'll be kids there, and then there'll be Miriam and her family. So her extended family is going to come. She has a sister-in-law that's an engineer, and I think let's see. I just had a note here. I think So. But she has there'll be older people there. So her family, there'll be kids in the neighborhood around her house. But in the house, at her house, there won't be kids.
John,
so
do you think it's possible to get, once you've decided who's going to be with which family, to have Matthew email us a little bio on the family?
Yeah. Good. Yeah, that'd be fine.
That'd be great.
What do you like? Usually what people like when you go in those countries, it's they like, for the kids, pencils, to draw, and things that are useful for school. Usually in India we brought some, and as well in the Himalaya we brought some to the kids, and they're very happy about it. And I think so. And the school, also the teacher, they like to have some tools for their kids, eh? Is it something that we could bring?
That would be fine.
Razor, stuff like that.
Yep, that would be fine. And even the homes around the places where you're staying. So if you're in a home that doesn't have kids in the home, there are kids that'll be out playing and running around. There'll be pickup games of soccer or football, whatever you call it, in the streets. And so that'll be happening all around.
Usually those kids are not as spoiled as our kids, so they're very happy. They're very pleased when they have. And what they like also, sometimes it's little treats, but usually paper, coloring books and everything like that. They like it very much. Yeah, they're so nice. We have had some people that brought supplies like you mentioned, paper and little booklets or pencils,
And sometimes it goes over great. Sometimes that house, then all of a sudden, so those kids run back to all the other neighbor kids and they tell them, hey, they've got stuff there. And then they all come
Yeah.
and they try to get into the house. And so sometimes it's a bit of a,
Awkward.
it's a tricky balance to fit. Yeah, it's a tricky balance to figure out how do we do something that shows your good intentions, and also, so probably it's best to ask the host what's the best way to do this, and then because they're the ones that live in the neighborhood. They will be able to say, oh, I would prefer if maybe you gave them to me, and then I will give them to the kids. So yeah, so it's just best to defer to what they would prefer, and they might say, "That's great, go, you go hand them out to whoever you want." So,
John, I don't know if I can be heard.
Yes, I can hear you.
Excellent. I've found too that sometimes it's easier to actually purchase things in country rather than the weight of carrying things in. Will that be an option for us in Amman?
Yeah, that's an option in Amman. So yeah,
paper, pencils, books.
Yep, that would be an option in Amman. There are a number. So in the village, there are a number of kind of small bookshop type things. They have different stationaries and things like that. And so the kids will probably have some of those types of goods already. So if you wanted to, like I said, if you wanted to bring something that feels local from your place of origin, those things go over really well. So if you do pencils or something like that, if it has, a football team or something from where you're from, people appreciate those. And then this was given to me by Chris, who is from wherever Chris is from, and it has the name of his city on it or something like that.
One concern, it's with Matthew, was somebody trying to speak? To Matthew, concerning the visa, how is it going? Because, well, you said to me that you would manage to do my visa. And is it stamped in the passport, or we can print it?
Is that question to me or to Matthew? Sorry.
To Matthew, but maybe I can send you an email. And I have to say, I will have to leave you because I have surprises guests here. So if you don't mind, I will leave you. But I thank you very much. I'm anxious to see all of you. And it seems to be great. So take care.
Thanks, Danielle.
Goodbye.
Nice to meet you, Danielle.
Bye.
Okay, bye.
Bye.
Right. Yeah, John, so
Bye.
that was one of the questions that people have had is, will it be an electronic visa? We're about ready to send. I think there's just a couple people that I need their travel details for, and maybe one person that's just getting back from a trip that needs to send a picture of their passport. I didn't want to send it. I'm going to have most everything. There's just a couple things that are hanging out. And I wouldn't, just to make it easier, if I could have everything to send it to you in one email, it'd be way easier. Bits and pieces.
That's perfect. Yeah.
But is it an electronic visa that you'll arrange for everybody, or how does all that work?
No, so it'll be a stamped visa, but they'll have it. So because we're a travel company here, we're able to, if somebody's booked a tour from the beginning to the end with us, you'll be able to get we'll be able to offer the free visas, but you'll have to, so it'll go in your passport. But if some people are leaving separately, we'll just have to, if there's different arrival and departure times, we'll just kind of have to figure out how all those work, just to keep track of. You'll get a visa waiver paper, and so normally the guide would just hang on to that the whole time, because the groups normally would come in all at the same time, and they would leave all at the same time, and that would just be at the airport. But because of the different arrival and departure time with some of the guests, we'll just have to, once we get the schedule of the arrival and departure times, then we'll be able to clarify all that.
Okay.
Okay, and I should have those to you really soon. And even
John, can you hear me?
Yes.
Can you hear me? Do
Yes,
the
I can.
people in the village speak English? Can the people in the village speak English, French, German? Not at all. They speak English.
Yeah, there will be some English speakers, and then all Arabic speakers. In the village, in the village, probably very few French speakers, probably no German speakers. The host in Wadi Rum that will arrange for the camping and everything, he speaks English and French.
Okay, not German.
Not German. He'll be able to speak a little bit of German, but I don't know how long of a conversation he'll be able to hold on to in German. But sorry.
In the village, Wi-Fi. They have Wi-Fi. Can I use my computer, my iPad?
Oh, let's see. I'm trying to think if the homes. That's a good question. I will ask them if they have Wi-Fi.
Yes, it would be good, interesting to know, to be prepared.
Yeah. One option, if you have a cell phone that's unlocked, that's not tied into a carrier, you can buy a SIM card, which is just a little phone number card. You can buy a local one here. They're quite inexpensive. And then you can get a wireless data plan that's just a prepaid plan. It's also quite inexpensive. And usually if you have a phone that's unlocked, there's a Wi-Fi hotspot ability on that phone. And so you could turn on a hotspot and then give, Wi-Fi to whoever you want to.
Okay.
But that's an easy thing to do.
Is there in the village? Is there a shop? Is there a possibility to buy local things? Do we
Local
in the
things?
village to shopping in the village?
Oh, yes, there'll be shopping in the village. They have like a local market, local shops that are, for the the people in the village. Not much for souvenirs. There won't be much of that in the village.
Local products.
Yeah, okay. Local products, and then products that they brought in from Amman, the capital. Sorry.
What will be temperature in November? Will it be cold at night and reasonably warm in the day? The temperature? Yes.
Usually, so it just depends on what's happening, what the weather decides to do. But usually, it's mild. So at the beginning of November, it'll be mildish. Sometimes warm. Sometimes you'll get chilly days, and then a little bit cooler at night. So I'd recommend bringing a light jacket that's easy to pack, that you could throw on. It can get chilly in the evenings. In the village it's farther north and is a higher elevation, and so that can get a little bit chillier at night.
John,
when we stay in the desert, sorry.
Oh, go ahead.
Go on.
Sorry, say that again.
Okay, I'll ask my question.
When we stay in the
Hey, John, I'll ask this really quick.
Go ahead.
Can you address a little bit, when you get a moment, about money, ATMs, tipping, that kind of stuff? And then second question, when you get a moment, someone talked about maybe going to Petra at night. I don't know anything about that, but I was told that was cool.
Yeah.
Thanks.
Yes. So tipping, let's see. So ATMs are very common around Amman. Not there. Let's see. I don't think there's any ATMs in the village, but you won't really need cash when you're in the village unless you want to buy something locally. So I would recommend. So normally, what my family does is we would just use the ATMs in Amman to pull out cash, and then that's what we would use when we're traveling around. The exchange rate, they normally use the normal international exchange rate, so it's not a really high exchange rate. Depending on the ATM, there might be a fee on the ATM itself. Usually not more than 5 Jordanian dinar, which is about $7 US. That would be like on the high end. There will be certain banks where there's no fee at all, and then it would depend on your fee from your own personal bank from your home country. You can exchange money also at the airport. The rates are higher, but you can do that right there when you come in if you'd like. Throughout Amman, there's also lots of exchange places that give you better rates for exchange from US or euros to Jordanian dinar. One Jordanian dinar is roughly 71 cents, US cents. So things are more expensive here in Jordan. Not a lot is made here. Everything is brought in, is imported. And so there's a lot of customs and everything on it. So if you've traveled around to other places where everything's really cheap, it's not as much the case here. Let's see. You asked about tipping. The tips for the guides and bus drivers, that's all included. So that's already built into the budget. So you don't have to worry about that. And we just find that that's easier for everybody. They don't have to worry about, am I calculating this right or not? And it's good for us in our relationships with our guides. So we just have that's already built in. So, but let's see, tips aren't necessary at all in the village. In Wadi Rum, the guide tip there isn't built in, so it's kind of whatever you think is fine. Anywhere between, it depends. So he'll have multiple like trucks that he'll bring to kind of drive the group around through the desert. And so after the Jeep tour or the truck tour, the 4x4 tour, you could tip the drivers there. That's usually 10 to 15 Jordanian dinar is fine for that. And then, something for the guide that stays with you. But other than that, the tips are already included.
Can you hear me?
Was that the, did I answer all your questions, Chris?
One more, just Petra.
Yep.
Going at night, is that possible?
Oh, yep. Yeah, let me look here. Let's see, Petra, I'm just looking. It's only available on certain days, so I'm just trying to see when. Yes, so Petra at night is an option. That it's on Monday, and so you'll be at Petra on a Monday. So they operate on Mondays, Wednesdays, and Thursdays. So that would be an option. You have to let me know ahead of time, because we'd have to arrange the bus to, let me just look at your timing schedule here. So you're staying at a Bedouin camp that's located in the Petra Archaeological Reserve, but it's on the backside. So from the main gate of Petra to the camp where you're staying is a 15 to 20 minute drive. So you're on the back end. You're staying on the back end of Petra. So we would have to get the bus to come pick you up, and whoever would go to it. to take you back to the entrance to do the Petra at night.
Okay, Matthew, maybe can we coordinate that with you and prepay whatever we need to get that set up?
Yeah, that
Great.
sounds really good. Yeah. And sorry,
Yeah.
John, you said that Petra is only available on certain days, or only certain days to us as a group?
Sorry, no. So Petra is open every day, but Petra by night. So it's just a specific.
Oh, I see.
It's just a specific event that they do certain nights of the week.
Gotcha.
Yeah,
that'd be
Petra. Yeah.
Thanks.
Yeah, so it's cool. They put candles in. They light the mile-long trail of what's called the Seep, the canyon. They light it up with candles, and then in front of the treasury, it's all lit up with candles. So, yeah, it's neat. It's a lot of walking. Be prepared to walk a lot at Petra. And we do have you there 2 days because it's so big. We found that people prefer to have more time so they don't feel rushed. If you try to do all of it in a day, it's exhausting. So normally people would just see a little bit of it and then be done. But it's a whole city, and they sell 3-day tickets to Petra because you can spend 3 full days there and keep seeing new things. So we do have you guys there with a 2-day time at Petra, and then at night, like I mentioned, you'll be at the Bedouin camp that is owned by a cooperative of a local tribe there. So all the proceeds go directly to that tribe that lives there, right there near Petra.
Matthew, I'd be interested in that. Sorry.
Hi, John. Hi, John.
Yes,
How
I can hear
big
you.
is the village where we're staying?
How big is the village?
Is the village? It's a big village. Yes.
Yeah, so the village, the northern village there are 3 villages that are kind of all together. They call it the Ayun area, which means like the springs. And I believe the total population of those 3 villages together is around 11,000. But they're separate little villages, but they kind of bleed into each other a little bit. So some people will be staying right at right around the market area. Other people will be up, a little, kind of out of the way a little bit. So
John is an option.
Is that a medical center, a doctor close by, or a hospital?
Oh, yes. Yep. There is a huge, you'll see it as you're driving up. There's a brand new big hospital that was recently built. And so that's really close to where you guys would be.
Okay.
Is the Petra at night option something that you can take camels from the Bedouin village?
Petra at night, no. That's something that we do, that's kind of an exclusive thing that Engaging Cultures does. We set up camels to go from the Bedouin tents, take you into Petra. So if people are interested in that as your second day normally we would have people do a first day. You'd walk through the mile-long canyon and you'd see some of the front sites. And then the second day from the Bedouin camp, you would get on your camels and then you'd ride the back way in. And then once the camels can't go any further because it's, pretty soon it gets to the mountains. So you'd be on the camels for an hour, and then you dismount, and then you walk with a Bedouin escort up the mountain. The rest of you kind of enter it at what's called the monastery, which is the back end of Petra. It's a really cool experience. It's an hour on a camel. So some people that's an hour too long. Other people are happy to keep going. So it just depends on people. But because we have a a guide that day, we would need to kind of coordinate what everybody wants to do. So, I mean, we could figure out if, you know, some people say, I really want to do this, and other people say, please keep me far away from camels. We could talk about the options, but yeah, camels are an option from our end.
Matthew, this is Gail in California. Can you hear me?
Hi, Gail. Yeah, we can hear you.
Oh, all right. I had technical difficulties and just now was able to connect with you, but I've been listening for quite a while. Matthew, my question is, at the beginning of this conversation, did you go over housing assignments for people? And if you did, I can talk with you about that later.
Okay, no, we didn't. John's leading this discussion really from Engaging Cultures, but what do you mean by housing assignment? Like when we were hosted in the villages?
Yes.
Yeah, John was mentioning that he would, let us know a little bit about where we'll be broken up into, and a little bit about the host families already.
Yep.
Yeah.
Okay, got it.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Nice one. Thank you.
And then I don't know how you guys prefer. Like, do you prefer to say we want these people from our end to be together, and then would you form kind of, we want us to be a group at a house together, and then those groups would then be separated amongst the three houses that we have? Or what do you prefer? Or do you want me to just assign, because I don't know you yet, I would just be kind of randomly assigning people? So I'll leave that to you guys to decide how you, or to you, Matthew.
Okay, sure. So if anybody on the call, wishes to be with somebody, just email me in the next day or so that we can let John know. But otherwise, I would say, I mean, anything is fine. We're a pretty flexible group. I mean, at the old Friendship Force, so we're used to dealing with whatever comes at us.
Yeah, that's great.
Okay.
John, I have a question about the electricity.
Yes.
Am I assuming that the plugs there in Jordan are mostly the standard European round plugs?
Yes, let me look and see if I've got a.
Can you repeat the question? I'm sorry, there was a glitch.
We're asking about plugs and electric adapters.
Okay.
No, it's actually bent, but so this, I just pulled, this is an adapter. These are super common. You can get these at just the, little corner stores. A lot of places have these. This is what will be in most homes. It's just that it's the small, and I can email Matthew the name of this plugin. It's a it's something like that. If you want to purchase anything beforehand, if you don't, so if you have something already, that's great. It saves you a trip or saves you from having to hunt something down. If all of a sudden you realize I can't plug anything in, these are fairly common around. So sometimes, yeah. So most homes, this will work in any home. Sometimes these will be a little bit fatter in the wall, but the smaller ones, and again, I'll send Matthew the name of it. Those will work. Those will work fine.
Great, thank you.
Yeah.
And we had a chat question come through. They need one additional night on departure. Is there a budget hotel near the airport where I could stay after the rest of the group leaves?
Yep.
Do you have recommendations for that I could share, John?
Let's see. Depends on. I mean, if you could. If they could let me know like what their budget is, then we can find something in that range.
Okay.
We'll book anything between 3 and 5 star places. Is it a single room? Would they need a single room or a double room?
I'm not sure. So the person, single. I'm not sure. This
Okay.
is waiting for name. I'm not sure who's asking this. Sorry, Teresa. Okay.
Okay. No, that's fine.
Thank you.
That's fine. Yeah. So so we can give you a couple options for some hotels on departure in Amman.
Okay.
That would work. Yeah.
All right. Great. I'll share those out as well then, Teresa, with you when I get those. Excellent. Okay.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Do we need any vaccination? Do we need any vaccination?
No vaccination.
Anything?
No vaccinations are required by the by the government or for entry.
Great.
Okay.
My wife and I and
mosquitoes?
our 3 kids have. Oh, are there mosquitoes? There are some mosquitoes. Yeah, there are some that time of year. There shouldn't be much. It shouldn't be a problem. There are, as far as I know, there are no mosquito-borne diseases that are carried in Jordan because we do have we have a winter. Sorry?
We need sunscreen. Sun is very hot. Still very strong. We need.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
Please bring sunscreen, a hat, sunglasses. And I'll send Matthew our list of packing supplies. But very comfortable walking shoes. Again, Petra. I can't stress it enough. Lots of walking in Petra.
Okay.
So just so you're aware, if anybody has knee problems, I have some knee problems, so I often will walk with a hiking stick or a walking stick, like a telescoping one. So if you want to bring one of those come in very handy in Petra, especially doing 2 days there.
Okay, and we have to buy bottled water. We can't drink the water. Can we? Can we drink the water?
The water you can drink it. No.
John, you frozen. Maybe it'll catch up in a second here. Maybe he might have to jump out and come back in. That is one of the questions that I have listed here as well. Yeah, he just went offline. So may I ask, if you're not speaking, can you mute yourself? Because there's some background noise.
Okay, we don't drink the water then. We didn't like the question. Oh no. I'm sorry, I killed you.
We'll see if he pops back on.
Can anybody hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you. So it looks like John's audio might be on now.
No, I just turned on my audio. This is Teresa again.
Hi, Teresa.
I wondered if we could go to Chris's program. Is it John or Matthew who will be making the airport pickup and drop off plans?
Roswitha, I'm going to mute you. There's some background noise there, just so that you know. Right, so Chris asked that question as well, the airport pickup and drop-off plans. Yes, that is the information that I'm sending John as soon as I get the passport photos and travel itineraries from everybody. I'm only missing maybe like 1 or 2 of each of those things, and I just wanted to make sure that I had, if I could, the complete list so that I can send it to John and he can deal with that accordingly so that it's not in bits and pieces. But I would imagine by the end of, I think they said they wanted it. I think Jamie, another person that works with John, asked if they could have that by the end of the month, but I'm going to really try and get it to them by the end of the week.
Sure.
And I will definitely follow up with the folks that I need that extra information from today and get that to John as soon as possible. But that is something that, yeah, they'll be helping us with. That was on my list of questions too, to ask John.
And if there is anyone else that has an extra night, I'd be happy to share a hotel room at the airport. That's part of the reason I didn't bring it up earlier. I thought maybe in the discussion of departure plans, someone else might have that scenario.
Right, right. Okay. Sure thing. All right, great. And then when we send those, actual emails out, Teresa, feel free to just, reply to everybody. Because I don't think I've
okay.
BCC'd anybody. Yeah, you go. Feel free to use one of those email groups to reach out and ask that too. I think that's fine. I think that nobody would mind that.
Great.
And it does look like John is connected to audio. Can you hear us, John, or are you able to speak with us just on the audio? Okay, doesn't look okay. So, all right. So some of the questions that I have had here, one is still the water. It looked like he was about to say that you might be able to drink it, but maybe go for a bottle. That's just a guess, though. I have no idea. So we'll confirm that one. Are credit cards widely accepted? He mentioned that there were a lot of ATMs and everything, but we should know that as well. If we could just use credit cards. And then in terms of the tipping, it's great that everything is included, and most of everything is included in the program fee. But maybe when we're on our own or something, do we tip at restaurants, sort of thing, with waiters and waitresses and things like that. So I'll make sure that I ask that as well. We have the plug question covered, and the gifts.
For those of us who could not see the picture, can you send something? Because I've got two of you showing up on my screen. I can't see anybody else.
Okay. Yeah, John. Yeah, he said that he would give us the. But I saw it though, so I'll be able to look at what the name of that plug is. And then, all right, and then one of the last questions was just specific types of clothing, and it sounds like everything will be covered. Well, yeah, not everything will be covered, but not in terms of clothing, but in terms of he'll bring us to a place. If he brings us to a place, he'll make sure that we have something that we can cover ourselves if we need. It sounded like. But I can confirm that as well, just to be sure. Did anybody else have any questions that I can email? These guys are really, really great about emailing right back. Like the next day, I can always count on having answers from this group the next day, which I really, really, really like. Does anybody have any other questions? You can chat or you can just shout it out. Roswitha, I'll just in case you have something to say, I'll unmute you now. There was just some background noise, I think, some interference there coming through. So I'll unmute you now. If you have anything else, did you have anything else?
Matthew?
Yes.
Louise from Minneapolis.
Hi, Louise.
We are coming in one day early.
Okay.
And I'm concerned about the visa. So.
All right. No, I don't think we have to worry about the visa. So they're arranging everything, and John was explaining that it might look a little different. How that works. They might be able to, give us a stamp on our passport when we get there, and he may send through something that we can print out and bring with us to the airport. But we all have different arrival times. I think that from what I've noticed with people sending, there may be only a couple folks that are going to arrive at the same time. Otherwise, it will be really all over the show. So there's nothing really we have to worry if we, arrive early. I'm arriving early. And then my wife is meeting me afterwards, after the program, when we're staying much later so that she can, see Jordan and everything. But the dates shouldn't be an issue, before or after. I think that Engaging Cultures will arrange the visa accordingly, according to our itineraries. And again, they'll have those really soon. And let us know how that all works. Yeah. Those are kind of like the last bits I think that we need to tidy up. Oh, hey, John.
Hey, he's back.
Oh, still no audio yet.
And Matthew, can you hear me?
Yes.
Matthew, can you hear me?
Yes.
Just to say, I'm very excited to join all the people mostly from America. I'm really looking forward to this adventure.
Me too. Thank you. John, do we have your audio back?
Yes. How's that sound? Can you hear me?
Perfect. Okay. Yeah. Great. Yep.
Yeah. Sorry, I was having some GoToMeeting issues. Yeah,
Right.
so I apologize about that.
That's okay. We were on the water, I think.
I was on water, thank you.
Yeah.
So everybody's gonna have the big jugs of water that you can refill water bottles. I'd recommend bringing a refillable water bottle. So those will all be available. Everybody's used to, nobody drinks water from the tap. Locals don't drink water from the tap. So it's not, it's not a, yeah, it won't be an issue, but just so you know, I mean, I normally brush my teeth from the tap. Some people prefer not to, some travelers do. I'll leave that to you guys. I've been doing it for 10 years and I haven't had any problems, but everybody's kind of internal gut biome is different. So I'll let you decide on that.
What have you found
Okay,
is the
thank you.
experience of those traveling with you? When people use you, do they use the tap and no problem?
For brushing teeth?
Uh-huh.
Yeah, so some people use the tap and no problem. Other people will just bring their water bottle into the bathroom with them and then use that as their kind of teeth brushing water. And then
no, I
so
get that, John. I
haven't-
guess I'm asking, have you had any negative experiences with people who decide to go the tap route?
No. I mean, we've had very few people get sick, but it's, you know, every once in a while somebody does have something that it's hard to trace where it comes from. But all of our hosts have been trained in food safety, food preparation safety, that sort of thing. So we always use these same hosts for our homestays and haven't had a problem with food there.
Thank you.
Excellent.
Yeah. Yep.
And so we just had a couple other questions, John. Are credit cards widely accepted? So we know that you mentioned that in Oman there would be plenty of ATMs and whatnot, but otherwise, would we be able to use credit card to pay for things around?
Yes, credit cards are very widely accepted.
Sweet.
You'll probably want to just alert your credit card company that you are traveling to Jordan before you go. Let's see, again, in the villages, there's not going to be as many places that do take credit card, but in Oman, most even little corner stores, little shops, they'll have a portable Visa swiping machine there. So we use our credit card all the time. That's the way we prefer to do it. But when you go, so in Wadi Rum village, you won't be spending much time there. You're just kind of going into the village, and then you'll kind of be transferred into the trucks there. But there won't be credit card options. Some places in Wadi Musa, which is the kind of village, city, town next to Petra, some places there won't be credit card options there.
Okay.
Very, very common in Oman.
Okay, great. And I just had a quick question before I get into the other ones. This is my own. So when would be the best time to get that SIM card? In the airport, or would we make our way into town and get it somewhere in town?
Yeah, you could do it. You could do it right at the airport. I believe it's the same price, actually.
Okay.
There's not a high airport price that I can think of. I actually just, so there'll be, and Zain is the company that I would recommend.
Okay.
They have about the best coverage.
Okay.
For mobile and data.
Okay.
And so right when you leave customs, and I'll let your guide know as well that some people might want to purchase those, but right when you leave customs at the airport, there's a Zain place that has, it'll have cards there available.
Okay, perfect.
So yeah, but you just want to make sure that that phone you have is unlocked.
Mm-hmm. Okay, great. And so we mentioned that most of the tipping would be included in the program costs, which is great. And what about like at other restaurants if we go out and things like that? Do we tip in restaurants normally like 10% or 20%, or is it like the States, or how's all that work?
Yeah, so almost all restaurants, the tip is included. So it'll say on the bill, it'll have a service fee and then a tax. So tax is 16%, there'll usually be a service charge of 10%.
Okay.
And then if you want to give anything above that, you can either do that on credit card or with cash. But
Okay.
usually there's a 10% service charge in the bill.
Excellent. Okay.
Some of the larger tourist restaurants, because they know that a lot of foreigners are used to 20%, giving 20% tips, they don't include a tip in the bill. So just make sure when you do get the bill, look and see if it's already included. Then you can decide if you want to give any more. Some places they'll say the tip is not included, and they're hoping that you're generous.
Right. All right. And then we talked about the bill. And then, all right. And then just to confirm that, if we do go to a place like a mosque or something where specific clothing is required, you'll help us out with that. We don't need to bring anything special to begin with.
Nope.
Okay. All right. Great. Okay.
Yep. You don't need to pack anything special for that.
Okay.
And just to remember that in the villages, people, they're going to be more conservative, especially the women are going to be more conservatively dressed.
Mm-hmm.
In Wadi Rum, you might see other tourists and maybe women with like shorter shorts or something like that. We always just let our guests know that that's people, the Bedouins in the desert are getting used to that because they're used to tourists. But for us, we recommend that people would try to be accommodating to the local culture. And that goes over very well with our hosts. They love when we send people their way because they say your guests are always respectful toward our culture. Just again, it's usually just short shorts on women. But otherwise, most things are options.
Okay.
But it will be again like beginning of November, and so you might not want to be, wearing short shorts anyway, because sometimes it could get warm in the sun, in the shade. It could be quite a bit cooler. Mm-hmm. There's quite a variance in there, so I'd recommend having some layers that you can take on or put on and take off.
Okay. And so we have a couple chat questions here.
Yep.
Well, we could stay on this one here. Chris just asks, is there anywhere we would need formal clothing, or is casual fine?
Casual is fine.
Okay. And what kind of food is a traditional meal? Are there any, she put in quotes, organ meats?
Organ meats are available on request only.
Okay.
The traditional food is chicken, rice, lots of salads, yogurts. Lots of great vegetarian options if there are vegetarians joining. If there are, let me know just so I can let everybody kind of along the itinerary know, hey, we do have some that are specific, some people that are requesting vegetarian options, but in general, there's always lots of salads available, especially the homestay hosts. They usually go above and beyond, and so there'll be lots of things to eat from there. But yeah, organ meats, if you want some, I can recommend a good place.
No, thank you.
No need then, no need.
I would go for it. Okay. And so what are some of the traditional crafts that we'll learn to make at the Ghor Al Mazra?
Yep. So Ghor Mazra, so we partner with a local initiative that is working with that community to do community development there. And so they will show you how they'll do, they'll make flour from wheat grains in a stone kind of grinding mill. You'll learn how to make bread over a fire. And so you'll kind of do this thing with the dough and then cook. There's a big, they call it a saj. It's like a big upside down satellite. Put that right on the fire. And so you'll make that. You'll make a local meal with the people in that village. Then they have some different crafts that they'll make with kind of recycling. crafts. So they'll use some things. They'll use like recycled bags, and they'll make like decorations and things with them there. Let's see, you'll do locally kind of an organic eyeliner. So they'll show you how they make a traditional eyeliner with cotton and olive oil and ash burning it. And then, you know, if anybody wants to get their eyes prettied up with that, you can let the women in the village do that. And they do the eyeliner, they'll go right on the inside of your eyelid. So it's not on the outside of your eyelashes. It'll be right on the inside. So that's an option. And sometimes in Petra, you might see some of the guys wearing eyeliner. So there's a specific tribe that lives right at Petra. And some of the guys will do eyeliner, they say, for the sun. So if any guys want to try the eyeliner at Ghor Mazra, you're welcome to. Kind of gives you a punk rock look.
Organs and eyeliner, I'm in. Okay.
Yep.
I think Chris also asked, is there anything the people in that village might like us to bring?
You mean like as far as gifts again, or like a hospitality? Yeah, again, anything that is, so like, you know, local flavors from where you're from. Mm-hmm. Even maybe like trinkets, like a little decoration type thing that has some sort of significance either to you or to the place where you're from. We recommend not bringing or giving people owls. So owl figurines, pigs, or snakes. Those usually have negative connotations. So cross those off your gift giving list.
Oh, interesting. Okay.
Is there any particular color that's also considered negative? Colors?
Yeah, not as much. I mean, dogs probably not doing a dog, but as far as colors, that's not as big of an issue.
No dog.
Okay.
No, he backed off that.
Okay.
John, I also have a question regarding textile arts. Is there like a souk that pertains to like fabric or weaving and things like that? And would any of the artisans there require something that they would really desire from here? Special kinds of wool or threads, scissors, anything like that?
That's a good question. I'm trying to think. I mean, there are in downtown Amman, there's lots of textile places. But as far as in the village, I'm trying to think. I don't know.
Do the men do the weaving, or do the ladies, or how does that work with that cultural?
Yeah, for weaving, it's usually women. Yep. And then they would do the traditional way would be to use wool, like a sheep's wool.
Yeah, or a camel, stuff like that.
Yep, and they do camels. So some of the tents that you'll stay in at the Bedouin camp at Petra, they'll be made out of either sheep or goat hair tents.
Good. And do they have like
black.
Yeah, and do they have like a women's cooperative or something there to encourage the cultural arts so they don't die out?
Let's see. At the village where there's the Bedouin camp, I don't know of any women's cooperatives. It would be just them continuing to do that. Near Amman, there is a women's cooperative. They do some weaving there. They do some local, local meals, that sort of thing there. If that's something that people are interested in, we can look at to see if we can fit that in.
Yes, I would really like to see something like that.
Okay.
And even if it's, just with, I don't know if this is possible, pottery making, something like that, the arts that are particular to that area.
Yep.
That don't appeal to me either. Which is darn good for you, Bob.
I know. Oh, what juice?
Okay, yeah, I'll look and see what where we could fit that in.
It's this morning.
Great. Well, thank you. I know we're getting on over an hour here. We really appreciate your extra time and talking with us
Yeah,
here.
you bet.
Does anybody else have
You
any
bet.
final questions or anything? Roswilla, I'm sorry, I muted you again because there was some background noise. I'll unmute you just in case you have something. You okay? Oh, wait, she's okay.
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 Normally, and I'll send this out to Matthew, just a list of kind of some cultural tips.
Great.
Normally, public displays of affection between, even if it's husband and wife, usually we just let people know that's not as common. So when we first moved here 10 years ago, you very rarely saw men and women holding hands, even if they're married, if they're walking down the street. Now you are starting to see it more. It's starting to become more common. But I would usually we just advise people, try to keep the public displays of affection to a minimum. Especially in Amman, it's not as big of a deal, but in the villages, it's best that you're just aware of that. And then we usually just kind of look to what are the locals doing. So if I've seen 3 couples already walking down the street holding hands, then it's probably not that big of a deal. But just kind of being aware of those things gives you something to look for. What else? Bread is really important here, and it's never thrown in the garbage. So that's something to be aware of. So even if you don't finish all of your food, usually they would take that food and they might scrape it into something else, and then that would be either set next to the garbage for animals to eat, or if sometimes we have like the pita style bread, we call it Arab bread here. If that goes uneaten and it starts to get a little bit hard, people will take it and put it in a bag and hang it on like next to the dumpster, so it'll never go in the dumpster. It'll hang next to the dumpster, and you'll find people that are in need, they'll come by and they'll pick up that bread to eat. So just so you're aware, if you're getting rid of your scraps after a meal or something like that, best to ask your host what to do with those, but the bread never goes in the garbage.
Oh, that's really interesting. Okay, thanks. Nice one.
Yeah. They say that bread is a blessing from God. And so if you're throwing it in the garbage, it's seen as I'm taking what God has given me and I'm just throwing it away.
Okay.
So it has kind of cultural and religious connotation.
Can I ask something?
Yeah.
Will we experience some local music or dancing? Local music.
Let's see. Sometimes there's a gentleman that lives in the village, the Ghur Mazra'a village, that he plays a flute. And so sometimes he shows up, sometimes he doesn't. That's something that if he's around, and I can ask to see if he's available.
It would be good, yeah. I like that.
Yeah. Let's see. At the Bedouin camp, there's a traditional Bedouin instrument called the rababa, and it has it's like a small, rababa. It's like a small little one-stringed violin played with a bow. It's a horse. They use a horsehair.
A horse violin.
Yes. Yep. So they use the tail and hairs from a horse, and they play it with a bow. And so usually Abu Ahmed, our friend, is at the Bedouin camp there, and maybe at dinner, during the dinner, he might play the rababa and sing some Bedouin songs.
But there won't be local dancing. They have no folk dancing.
Let's see. The dancing usually just happens at weddings.
Okay.
If there's a wedding that's happening in the village, we can try to get you invited.
Let's hope.
And it's often. I mean, it's often people are happy to have just surprise guests show up. And so that would be the place where there would be dancing. Otherwise,
No.
That's kind of the dancing time.
Okay, okay, thank you.
Okay, actually, we did have a couple more come through the chats. Angela's asked, would a handheld solar charger for a cell phone and such, or light, be needed for host? Angela, what do you mean by that? Actually, I'm not really.
A good gift. Would that
as a
be a
gift.
gift that they would value, appreciate?
Let's see. Possibly. I mean, particularly maybe the you said a solar charger or a
It's a handheld. Yeah, they're little handheld. We use them a lot in Africa through Rotary to give students, families a chance to use light as opposed to camp light. And I don't know how much electricity is in the Bedouin villages.
Yeah.
So
electricity is the infrastructure in Jordan is quite good.
Okay.
At the Bedouin camp near Petra, where you'll be staying, they do use a generator there so they'll turn it on probably around 6 o'clock in the afternoon, and they'll turn it off around 10 o'clock. And so you'll have electricity during that time, but then after that, it's kind of camp lights are out. And so, somebody there might, but in the village, so the people that run the camp, they live in a village that's just up the hill from that place. And they have electricity 24 hours a day.
Okay.
In Wadi Rum, sometimes the Bedouins are out for days at a time. So that might be an option. It might be a good idea there.
Okay.
Do the people in the village have pets like dogs and cats?
Some people, let's see, there's at the homes where you'll be staying, I don't believe anybody has pets. There'll be a lot of cats around. There won't be dogs. Dogs are seen as unclean. And so nobody, people won't keep a dog as a pet in their home. They might keep it as a guard dog, but I don't think you'll see any of those in the village.
Thank you.
Okay.
Yeah.
Hey, can you comment on the political situation there? Because some of us are receiving emails and things like that from State Department and everything, and we know that there's it's like a small group on the outskirts of Amman or something like that. There's been a little bit of conflict. What's happening there?
Yeah. The security situation, we've always felt very safe here. So like I mentioned earlier, I have 3 small kids. They go to local school. We never have felt unsafe here. So this summer we were back actually in the States. We weren't here at the time of the incident that you mentioned, but that was, as far as I know, kind of a single incident, and it's been taken care of. So
right. Okay.
Yeah.
Thanks. And then this is a slightly kidding question, but are you arranging for us to meet Queen Noor? I don't know.
I don't know. If you guys can arrange for me to meet her, that would be awesome.
She spoke at Rotary a few years ago at the International Convention, and actually her husband was the speaker back in 1994. So yeah, it would be cool. She's amazing.
Yeah. Oh, I'd love to meet her.
And is it okay to take people's photographs, as long as we have their permission and everything?
Oh, good question.
Yeah, great question. Yep. Yes, it is. But yeah, do make sure you ask, especially for women.
Yeah.
Make sure you ask before you take their photos. So you will get people that say, no, I don't want you to take my picture. But yeah, do ask. But men, it's almost always okay, but some women prefer not to have their photos taken.
Okay. And is it a good idea to bring a headlamp or a flashlight or something?
Yes. So bring a headlamp, especially for the camp near Petra and when you're camping in Wadi Rum. So I would highly recommend bringing a headlamp, a flashlight, and again, I'll send you a list. But
Okay.
it's good to just be reminded of all these. So headlamp, and then yeah, if you do want to bring your own sleeping bag for Wadi Rum, that would be great. At the Bedouin camp so in Wadi Rum there won't be showers, so you'll be camping kind of at our host's. He has a tent that he brings his family to that's out kind of far away, and there's no bathrooms there, so that'll just be, you have to be in the nature. So yeah, you might want to bring some hand sanitizer, which is actually really common, easy to buy all over, but you might want to bring that. Wet wipes, also easy to buy around, but those are helpful to have. At the Bedouin camp near Petra, they have showers, like camp showers and toilets, but no towels. So you'll need to bring a towel. I'd recommend like one of those small or a thin camp towel. They're really light, packed down really small, they dry quickly. So that'll be something you'll want to bring with you to shower with at the Petra camp, because you will get hot and sweaty and dirty in Petra, and you'll want to be showered off.
Can you tell me a bit about we are staying at the Dead Sea Resort? We're going to the Dead Sea.
You're going to the Dead Sea.
Okay.
As long as you want to. Do you guys want to go to the Dead Sea?
Yes.
I love
Yes.
I love to. Do we take a swimsuit or a bathing costume?
Bring a swimsuit. And Dead Sea Resort is anything goes except nudity. So your bikinis are fine at the Dead Sea Resort. It's like when you're in the resort, it's its own little enclosed place. And so you can buy alcohol on the premises. You can wear what you want. Any kind of swimsuit's fine. I'd recommend not shaving your legs right before you go into the Dead Sea, and shaving your face. Sometimes it does get a little burny, but that when you go into the Dead Sea, it's so salty. It's 33%. The salinity level is 33%. The ocean is around 3%. So it's a huge amount of salt in the water. And so if you do have like a cut or blisters, or if you've recently shaved, it can burn. And then, you get over it after the initial shock of it. But yeah, just be aware that that's that. And don't dive in to the Dead Sea. I once was there with a group, and I saw a guy just take off running, and he just dove in like he was diving into the ocean. And it's so salty it burns your eyes. And so he popped up, and his eyes were so red, and he was trying to hold it in, but you could tell he was in a lot of pain. So you actually don't have to get any of your head wet when you get in there, because you float so well. But yeah, just kind of ease in to the Dead Sea. Don't go diving.
Would you suggest, or do you know about any spa treatments which are special for these areas? Some massage, cold or mud?
Yep. So at the hotel or at the resort that you'll be staying at, you'll be at the Jordan Valley Marriott, which is very nice. They will have Dead Sea mud there available on the premises. So that's a common, they sell mud at the pharmacies or places for export. So it's very mineral rich mud. You can just scoop it out of a bucket that they'll have there, and then people will spread it all over their faces and their whole body and kind of let it dry. And then you go back into the sea to let it kind of rinse it off. But it's great for eczema, any other skin issues. It's supposed to be really good for it. So at the resort, there's a spa right on the premises, so you can get massages and other types of kind of spa treatments right there. So it's a good way to kind of wrap up the end of the trip, because you'll have lots of people time, lots of hiking and walking and getting dusty time. And so having that Dead Sea time at the end is it's rejuvenating.
Okay, and I understand it's Arabic, most Muslim countries, there's no alcohol.
There is alcohol at 5-star hotels and above. So the first hotel you're staying at is 5-star, and they do have alcohol there. In the villages, there won't be. We recommend not. We have people often ask us, can we bring a bottle of wine to the Wadi Rum Desert? We recommend that you don't, just because of the hosts. It's religiously and culturally inappropriate. Yeah. So, but yeah. So at the Dead Sea Hotel, there will be alcohol available there. At some restaurants in Oman, there will be alcohol. But otherwise, they're in the villages or in the rural areas, there won't be.
No, thank you.
Yeah.
Okay, we had another chat come on. How often does one encounter snakes, like when going outdoor in the outdoor bathrooms and things like that?
Let's see. I have been to Wadi Rum a lot. I've seen a snake once. And it was, I only saw it because our guide said, come here, let me show you this snake. So it wasn't, I would, use your flashlight if you have a flashlight. So use that when you're, at night going to the bathroom. But I've never had any issues. None of our guests have had issues with snakes. There's also scorpions in the desert. So in the area around Petra and around Wadi Rum, there are scorpions, but again, we've never had any incidences. Let's see, we recently gave the host in Wadi Rum, we recently brought him over a black light headlamp, and black lights will make scorpions glow fluorescent. So if anybody is very concerned about scorpions, again, we haven't had any problems with it, but if you're concerned about scorpions, you can bring a black light headlamp, and then maybe you don't want to, because then you might see lots of scorpions before you didn't know they were there. And so when you put your shoes on after, so any places that you're staying in the desert, around Petra and around Wadi Rum, before you put your foot in your shoe, just take your shoe and dump it out, just to make sure that nothing has crawled in, like a scorpion hasn't crawled in there at night.
May I ask you again? We don't have to bring our sleeping bags, but we could.
Yes, that's right. So if you don't bring your sleeping bags, we'll arrange for, we don't have enough sleeping bags for everyone. We have some, but we would arrange for like blankets to use. And this would only be for the Wadi Rum camp. So it would just be that one night. So if you, so you can bring your sleeping bags. A thin one is fine, and we can even add a blanket with that also. But you don't have to bring one. We can arrange for bedding, but
and usually traveling with Friendship Force, there is a farewell party. Will this happen as well? A party?
Say that again. Sorry.
Coffee.
No,
Coffee?
No. Farewell. On the last day or
like a farewell party.
A farewell party.
That's it. I'm a foreigner. I speak French.
That's okay.
A farewell party. Yes.
Yeah. That's okay. Let's see. We don't have anything on the schedule right now. There is a nice restaurant. So your last night that you're on our itinerary anyway together, The last night is going to be in Madaba, and there's a nice restaurant there in Madaba that we could, if you would like, we can make reservations there and have something included there if you would if you'd like us to do that.
Yeah, that might be a nice idea.
Okay, okay.
Yeah.
Okay, okay.
Yeah. But yeah, just let us know if you would like something like that arranged, and we're happy to give you some options, and then you can decide.
Okay. Yeah, that sounds nice.
Just arrived, people have started piling their belongings and damaged furniture into that skip. Pretty devastating scenes, emotional scenes here.
Has anyone had some suggestions about sharing photos? That would be good. Oh, right. Yeah, Chris. So maybe like what we did when we went to Taiwan, having like a closed Facebook group and sharing photos through Facebook might work with everybody. I could help set that up like I did, yeah. And when we were in Taiwan, actually, we did that. So if everybody's on Facebook, or you could just email me your pictures and I can share them in a shared folder afterwards too amongst the group. Something we could do for sure too, like on a Google Drive sort of thing. Yeah, nice one.
Yeah, good idea. Good idea. I like that.
Yeah, because Caitlin's gonna want to be pictures. Yeah, they're gonna want pictures of this. For sure, to promote within Friendship Force as well. So, because we already have one scheduled. I'm not sure if you know, John, but yeah, we already have one scheduled with like a wait list for next year too.
Okay.
but there's been a lot of interest in this. So this is really, really good.
Okay, good.
Yeah, we're really excited.
Good, great.
Yeah.
Yeah, us too. We're looking forward to. I mean, I was kind of going over some of the material that Matthew had sent me beforehand about Friendship Force, and I mean, you're exactly the type of people that we love working with. So we're excited to be working with you guys on this.
Yeah, it's great. Yeah, we'll talk more about that for sure too when we're there. I know, because there's a lot of interest. Well, thank you so much. So I guess if nobody has anything else, we'll just be in touch, of course. And for all of the callers in, I think this recording works. So I think it's an audio. I'll share that with you all as well. And then for people that weren't here. All right, John. Well, thank you so much. We really appreciate your time.
You're most welcome. Yeah, you're most welcome. And yeah, thank you guys for being available, and looking forward to seeing you in Jordan.
Yeah, same.
Thank you.
Have a good evening.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Bye-bye.